This is the Lavender Water Podcast. This is your host, Matthew Williams, and I'm being joined today by a very special guest. I would call myself an admirer because in my eyes, she changes the game that she's playing. This is Tyra X, aka Tyra Love. She is a sex worker, and I see her as like a healer. Like this is like beyond just like getting some rocks off. Like this is this is like elevating the game. So everyone, just give it up for Tyra.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and even considering me for your podcast.
Oh, for sure, no doubt. So my thing is, I just add random beautiful women on Facebook, and sometimes like we gravitate towards each other and be cool, and sometimes just not so much, and then we just don't be friends. But like we crossed paths, like what was that, like 2020?
Yeah, I think it was around there.
So for everyone out there, through Tyra, I figured out that my if I were to perform in an OnlyFans scene, my asking price is $200 an hour. So y'all better holler at me. But
I remember that too. I still have that.
we established me a pretty decent low working price. I was like, okay, I mean I might not, sleep on myself after all. But I don't think it's something I'm gonna get into with like my mother passing, and like right before she passed, I was telling her about it, and she was like, "You mean like do porn?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh my god.
And she wasn't really feeling it. Everyone that like listens to my music, which is like strictly about sex, thinks it's like on brand and it's a good idea. But
I think that's why I reached out to you, because I watched one of your videos that you posted, and it was about, I guess like one of your exes said that you made her squirt.
Oh yeah, Matthew goes to SeaWorld. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wait, let me reach out to him. I mean, he's fine as fuck, and he can make bitches squirt.
Oh man, I'm blushing right now. But yeah, I wanna focus on you today because I think the work you do is it's like real work, it's necessary work, and just the way that you advertise it, the way that you move, I don't know, I think it's interesting, and I think the audience would think so too. I'm wondering, how did you find your start on this path?
I mean, honestly, I feel like I always was like a hoe, but I feel like I just kind of like hit it as much as possible. Because, society, like, they accept everything else, but, like, if you're like a fucking prostitute, you're like the worst person in the world. You're like the scum of the earth, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I think once I found like my community and I found people who were supportive of me, and obviously we're in the line of sex work as well, it made me more comfortable with like coming out. So
Okay.
I think that like when you have community with anything that you do, I feel like, you can make it, right? So I think that when it came to like sex work and really coming out, because, I started off like having a sugar daddy, and then I started OnlyFans, and then I started to escort, and I was like, wait, escorting is just way more profitable, and I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of this, because, with OnlyFans, it's like the supply and demand. You always have to put out content. You always have to be engaging with your fans, and that's like a lot of energy. That's like a lot of energy exchange for not, in my opinion, I feel like it's not worth it after a while. Like, I was making thousands of dollars when I started it, and then, like, just the supply and demand thing. They wanted you to do just extreme shit, or they want you to just put out content that you're just not comfortable with. And a lot of creators will do that to meet that demand. So I was like, no, fuck this. I mean, people who subscribe to my OnlyFans, they want to fuck me anyway, so I might as well give them an opportunity to do that.
Okay.
So it kind of just, like, opened the door.
I'm wondering, just like a side note before you continue. So, like, how do you get comfortable with being intimate with someone that's an admirer? You know what I'm saying? Since, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, what's the process like?
So, like, if you're going to have, like, a one-night stand, you're going to hook up with someone at the club, right? So it's kind of like this, it's kind of similar to something like that, besides, obviously, they're going to screen, they're going to send me information, so, I feel safe, and I know I'm not going to get fucking murdered or raped, right? I can do a background check on them. So it's really no different from casual dating, besides it's beneficial for both people. So especially if you don't want anything like serious, or you don't want to commit to anyone, but you want to fuck, right? So it's similar to that. I always feel like with escorting or just sex work in general, I mean, all you're really doing is dating, but you're getting the emotions and the bullshit out of the way.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, that's how I go about it. And I feel like this time in my life, I have the privilege to see who I want to see and who I don't. And I know there's a lot of sex workers who are survival sex workers, so basically they don't have that option. They have to go a more dangerous route and kind of just see anyone who's willing to pay them. But yeah, I mean, I screen, like I do background checks, like I know where they work. So it's a little bit, it's not like the fucking 80s, you know what I mean? Like where whores were getting fucking murdered and just dumped in the alley. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit safer, and I feel like it's just sex. Like for me, I feel like if you have good energy and the vibe is good, I could fuck anyone.
So then I guess that brings me to the next point, where it's like, I've seen a couple of your posts where, like, I don't know if it's like word for word, but roughly what you were saying was that you heal people with your pussy. And
yep.
It's like, in my experience with women that do this line of work, maybe not on the same scale, there was a point in time, like 10 years ago, like I was like living in a motel room with a woman who was a Backpage sex worker. And
I miss Backpage so much.
Shouts out Backpage.
Right, there's such fucking whores for that. Like, why would you take away that great fucking site? And Craigslist, that was amazing.
Shouts out Craigslist. But like for like a week I was seeing like the life of that, and it was like sometimes she was just paid for her time, whereas like this old man, he came through and he brought her chicken wings and a pack of cigarettes. And
I love that.
and all they did was watch TV.
Yeah, like, I mean, a lot of situations, it's like, they'll just pay you for your time, you know? I have one client that I see, and basically he has ED, so his dick just does not work anymore, right? So all, like, we really do is, like, watch fucking movies, we'll eat, like, we'll give each other sensual massages. So, I mean, even though I am getting paid for my time and my energy, it's not always like a sexual exchange.
Right. Because sometimes you just want the companionship, right?
Exactly. You want the companionship. And, I mean, I feel like after a certain age, usually for like a man, it's like he wants the company of a younger woman. I mean, this has been going on for like centuries. So, I mean, like, why not? You know, if you can afford it, like, why not indulge in that?
So, like, at what point did you realize that you were healing men?
Honestly, I really didn't even see it like that at first. I just felt like, oh, well, he's going to pay me for my time because I'm young and, my pussy's wet, right? But
Right.
after a while, I was like, wow, I mean, these men really, they were telling me really personal and intimate things about their life. I mean, anything from, like, health issues, battling, like, cancer, going through chemo, just, like, a lot of personal things. And, men, like, a lot of times you guys don't like to talk about your feelings, let alone go into therapy. So, I mean, I was a form of therapy for them.
Listen. The last episode, me and my guest Sky, we were talking about how necessary therapy is, and then speaking on how men don't like to talk about what's going on. I got a friend. She lives in New York. One of her friends, he was peeing blood. And she was like, yeah, you need to go to the hospital and get that checked out. And it was like, oh, dog.
What the
basically,
fuck?
like, I'm going to walk it off type. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, like, we don't pee blood every day, B. Like,
yeah, come on. Like, that's not normal. So, yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of times, like, a man just needs, like, that feminine energy just to kind of, like, put him in alignment in whatever form that comes in. And I feel like we're human beings. How can you expect a human being to get everything they need from one source? So it's like, if they can't get it from their wives or their spouses or girlfriends, why not get it from someone that, actually cares about them and actually is willing to engage with him in that way? So I feel like whatever you can do to make someone happy or vice versa, like, indulge in that. I think that we focus so much on getting happiness from one source, so it's like we're just going to stick to this one source because this is what society tells us to do, and that's bullshit. Like, we're part of the animal kingdom, and for me, I feel like we get pleasure and we get, our needs satisfied through so many different sources. We always have to be stimulated. So if you think you can only be stimulated by one source, I mean, I don't know what the fuck. You're some type of subhuman. So I feel like with sex work, I'm also educating people on just, like, non-monogamy, or just if you're into, like, a poly lifestyle or whatever you're into that's not, like, heterosexual norm, right? I feel like I'm educating, but I'm also giving them an outlet with my services.
for sure, because it's like, essentially, it's like being good at your job and loving your job, which in society, a lot of people don't have the luxury to love their job. It's like, it's what feeds me, but it's like I don't enjoy doing what I'm doing. So it's really nice that you created a lane that's all you, to not only enjoy it and do something good for the world.
Thank you. I mean, obviously with any job, there's always going to be the pros and cons, but I mean, I think for the most part, any job that you are selling your body and your labor to, you're going to have sources of, like, self-care, and that's with anything that you do. So it's not like I'm exempt from, a capitalistic, work ethic or anything like that. But I think at the same time, I feel good that I'm setting the price for what I think, my labor and my time is worth. Right. So, I mean, I feel like if you can do anything in this lifetime, I think that, for one, following your dreams, and also not getting discouraged because, people are not either paying for your art or they're not encouraging you. Because when I first started escorting, I was like, what the fuck? I'm not getting any customers. I'm getting low ballers. I'm getting just, like, people who just don't take this seriously. And then when I started to rebrand and really take myself seriously and really put in the effort to believe in myself, I was getting the clientele and the energy that I wanted to cater to. So, you know, it all falls in alignment with whatever you decide to do with your life. I think you just have to be intentional.
That's a big key. That's a big key. And we're real big on that over here this way. Yeah, intention. Another previous episode talking to my ex-girlfriend, she said, you have to be direct.
Is this the one that you made her squirt?
No, this is a episode of this podcast. That was a little series I was doing called Activities, where it was like video, and I was like it was like basically telling the story of my first girlfriend. Her too, but like I shouldn't be saying this, but yeah, like I know how to make it happen, but
oh my gosh, we gotta get you out to Miami soon. I think if we got you out to Miami, you probably wouldn't leave. You probably would be like a really popular male talent.
That's what I'm afraid of. But yeah, she was saying that you have to be direct to get what you want. You know what I'm saying? And it's about the intention. It's about the deliberateness of the delivery of what you're putting out there, because you're trying to get it back. You know, so if it's shaky, what could you possibly receive?
Exactly. And I feel like the universe always fucking knows. Like, it knows when you're being intentional, and it knows when you actually care about something. So if you're like kind of bullshitting, then you're gonna get that back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you ever like paid for pussy? Have you ever bought like an escort or paid for companionship?
I have never paid for an escort or a companionship. But the more that I educate myself on the game, I don't look down upon it as much as, typical men would feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause it's, it's a big thing in the rap community. I don't pay for pussy. That's the number one thing I don't do, But,
yeah, okay.
It's like just like observing reality is like, in a sense, you're always paying for it, whether it's like directly to have sex with someone or, just you're chipping away at that wall to get it, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You're still getting it. It's just like the journey that you are using to get to it is just different. Like when a man really likes a woman, even if it's like just a casual thing, he does things to pay for pussy. Like, even if you don't want to come out and admit it, everything that you do, well, not everything, but I would say like 70% of like what you do is revolved around getting pussy or getting the opposite sex to acknowledge you.
I got this song, it's actually called Trick Money, and it's like the premise of the song is like, I envisioned it as a virtual strip club, but I had a woman get on the vocals of the beginning of it, kind of like introducing you to the experience, and it became like a virtual whorehouse. So I just ran with it. But it's like the intro lyrics are like,
if I throw a couple dollars, you gon' back it up and pocket like a Chevrolet Impala. Can you make your elbows touch your knees? If you listen to your nana, she had taught you that the nanny look like a wallet. Ain't no reason to give it up for free.
Ooh, I like it.
And it's like, you hear this from like the grandmas and like the older women of the generations. Like they always say, like, if you got a wet pussy, ain't no reason your rent ain't paid. Ain't no reason. And it's like, that's how they operated, understanding that nothing comes for free, and that pussy is as good as money.
Exactly. It's like, it's probably better. I want to say better than money, because I feel like the currency is a bit different, but I feel like it's equal. Like pussy currency and like, I don't know, because they said money's not like worth that much anymore. What is like Bitcoin? I feel like it's like the same currency.
Right. It's some I think it was somebody at my job was saying this. It was like, yeah, they might not understand everything you saying, but if you say money or pussy, you go, huh? Yeah, I know what that is. I bet you know what that is. Yeah.
Wait, was that your song? Is that your song?
Oh yeah, Mad Sex Wave, Trick Money. It's the single of this month. Well, we're recording this in May, but like this is gonna drop in like September. So I don't know what song is dropping in September, but it's a new single every single month from April 2022 to 2023.
Oh shit! You have to send it to me.
For sure. Right after we get off of here, I'll forward it right to you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
So like, what's the future look like in this field? Like, do you got like a retirement plan? Is there like, like some setup for like a bigger business move or venture? Like, what's the outlook?
Honestly, I feel like my retirement plan is whenever I stop having fun with it, or I fucking fall in love and I want to get married. But even then, I feel like with sex work, it's like you can always retire and come back to it. So I think that if I did ever retire, I always will probably still have some type of, like whether I'm doing like blogs or I'm doing, like a podcast or even OnlyFans, I still feel like I'm going to be incorporated with it.
Right.
And then I do have a personal goal when it comes to if I do retire, like I have a financial goal that I want to meet. But other than that, I mean, I feel like once I stop having fun, I think that's when I'll like retire.
Okay.
But who knows? I mean, depending on the economy, like who even fucking knows at this point?
Yeah, it's pretty unpredictable. I didn't see $5 gas. I didn't see that coming.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like gas, fucking food. Like, I think like my mom told me like she bought a steak the other day from Publix and it was like almost like $30.
Jeez.
Yeah. So honestly, like the economy has like gone to shit, but I mean, I think that work has been like better for sex workers just because like I read this article and it said like I forgot the percentage, but it was like a huge percentage of like married guys who like divorced their wives because they couldn't stand to be with them during quarantine. So like during that time, like I really capitalized on work.
Yeah.
And I probably made like the most money with escorting during like that period when everyone was working from home because they just want to get out of the house. So that was like amazing.
Yeah, I think a lot of jobs that get slept on or looked at a certain way really made bank in the pandemic. Like I was a cook at the time, and when the business model, I can cook. I haven't been in the field since August 2021, but it's part of my repertoire.
Ooh, Chef Matthew.
Yeah. But when the business model changed, instead of people coming in to eat, it was all like orders and delivery and stuff. So then the tips went up for the cook. So then it's like we seen how waitresses would go from like, $50, $80, $100 a night to, sharing $7 among like 8 of them, you know what I'm saying? And then we sitting in the back like, dang, bro, I ain't never made 60, I ain't never made 80 for cooking, bro, dang. So like that nice little polar switch, it, eventually went back to the way it was before, but it was like that little bonus round of quarantine and, COVID and all that, like some people were winning for the first time in their lives. Shouts out to the pandemic sometimes.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like, obviously I feel bad for, like, service workers, like waitresses and stuff like that. But I am happy that people kind of got an understanding of like what those workers actually make and like what they survive on.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like most of your income comes from tips. I'm glad that it kind of opens a lot of people's eyes to, you know, the service industry in general.
Yeah.
But shout out to you for making some great tips as a chef during that time.
Well, more line cook than chef. Like, I was trained to be a chef, but I was definitely just doing short order grease boy work at that time.
Mhm.
Like, I haven't been like white coat since like 2017. I was working at this French restaurant with these Californian dudes who didn't know what they were talking about.
Oh shit.
It eventually shut down. Everyone said the food was good. I didn't really care for it. French food food is kind of gross to me, but like they top notch with them pastries though. They're good at baking.
The only thing that I've ever had like from a French restaurant that I liked was the duck and the snails, but that's because it was like covered in garlic. So I couldn't really, you know, and it was tender, so.
Respect. Yeah, I don't think I found too much from the French cuisine that it's like, oh yeah, that's on point. Some of it is like, yeah, that's kind of hard to get into.
Yeah.
I don't really have any more like super duper questions.
Any more questions? I mean, I don't care if you get like personal or like. I mean, I feel like if you have like any invasive questions you want to ask, you can ask them. Don't get offended.
I personally don't have anything invasive. I just like when people paint what they do, you know what I'm saying, where, you know, people just typically wouldn't know what the day-to-day is like. Just on the ground, it's like it is rated explicit content, but like it don't really get like deeper than like PG-13 on this one. And I think I like to keep it that way. I think I might disappoint some of my perverted audience, but hey, if you want to know the experience, we're gonna put her information in the section. You can get in contact. You know what I'm saying? She is pretty pricey, so you better come correct if you're really trying to play, trying to ball. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
I feel like if you're over 18, you kind of know the deal. So.
Yeah. Like when you was talking about like the prices you pay people to edit your videos and to pay people to shoot in the first place to perform, it's like, dang, like she messing with figures, everybody. She messing with figures. Like, yeah, this is real work. This is what it takes.
It is, and I think that once we kind of educate people that this is real work, and you know, it takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of energy from the performers. It's like they don't realize, like even when I did porn for a bit, like a porn shoot or a shoot for a day is like you're on set for like 10 plus hours. And even when it comes to escorting, I mean, the preparation that you're going to have to do before and after a client, that's like a 10 plus hour day as well. So, I mean, it's not like, it could be easy money, but I feel like you have to get to a point in your life where it becomes easy money, because it doesn't start off that way.
And that's with anything. Me and a friend were actually having a conversation one time about how like OnlyFans does indeed remind us of being a SoundCloud rapper. Because it's like I've seen where like some women be like, I'm the top 0.01 percentile, I'm the best creator, and then it's like other girls that's like kind of struggling to get their link out, get their stuff sold, and it's like, yeah, that's really what it's like. It's like, I dropped the mixtape, bro, and it's like, who gives a fuck? Go back to work. Like, I don't care. I'm not listening to your mixtape. I'm not buying your OnlyFans. Try working, you know what I'm saying? So the people that can really create the platform and make it happen, you know what I'm saying, is like, this is the work that it takes. It's real work, like on any scale.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. It is real work, and I think once we can get like fucking bills passed and other shit, so people can actually consider it like real work. I mean, people are going to, people are going to, you know, they're going to go about it and think about it in a way that's, you know, I guess just almost like they don't want to think for themselves. They kind of just want to be like a sheep when it comes to actually doing like their own research. It's like we have access to so much knowledge. Like, it's like, why do you feel like you should remain ignorant to a topic or to anything in general?
You know, they say in the age of information, ignorance is a choice, and it's like it's a funny conundrum, because it's like we have all the information that ever was, for the most part, at the tip of our fingertips at really any moment. A laptop, a computer, phone, tablet. The video game systems go to the internet, you know, but it's that choice of, am I going to educate myself? Am I going to learn? Am I going to, you know, and it's just because it's like, I can go to it when I want to. I can really go to it just to make a point and not actually know what I just said, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where we're at right now, this convenient consciousness, in a sense.
Exactly, and it's like, why choose to be ignorant when your ancestors didn't have the opportunities that you have now? Why not capitalize on that and just educate yourself and pick up a book, or, you know, actually ask someone, and not just, I don't know, I feel like being ignorant in a way is like, it's safe, you know, you don't have to think too much, because then if you think too much, then you know, you're actually going to have to do some shadow work with yourself. So we know how much people don't like to look within themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I learned this the first time I took mushrooms. I was at Job Corps, and I had this roommate, and he was going to sleep, and I was like, bro, I got like 6 more hours to go on this. Like, you got to stay up with me. He just passed out. And I'm just like laying there, like I'm just by myself, like, and it's like, you know, I had to learn that it was okay to be with myself, you know what I'm saying, and work on myself and pick out the things I don't like. It's the
scariest thing.
Yeah, at first, that first trip where it was like that, it was like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm usually surrounded by people. I usually can go to sleep at this time and, you know, go back and be surrounded by people. But it's like, it's just me and me right now, and the sleeping guy in here.
Exactly, and I bet that was like the best, wasn't it like the best experience you've ever had on shrooms?
Yeah, it definitely, I came out of it a better person.
Exactly. So thank God for your friend fucking falling asleep.
Yeah, it was scary at first. I was like, man, because like I kept like doing this weird like pacing routine in the room. And I was like, yeah, he thinks I'm a weirdo. And then, like, I just needed to bounce the energy off, and he was just fading from me, and I was like, I lost him.
Fuck. I know, like, when that happened to me the first time, like, I was trying to just, like, avoid going, like, deep. I was just avoiding altogether, just going, like, any other place that wasn't, like, here. Like, wasn't, like, my reality as I know it now.
Right.
And, like, honestly, after a while, I just gave in. I was like, fuck it. If I die, I die. And then that's when, like, all of the wonderful shit happened.
Yeah, for sure. That's it's something I read in like a psychedelic experience related book. I think it's called it's like this white dude, I think it was like Timothy Leary or something like that, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but it was like his analyzation of it. And he was like talking about, like, basically if you don't feel like you took too much, you haven't taken enough. and then it's like that point of, you know, that it's scary, but it's like your mind is trying to resist, and it's like it's just easier if you just submit to it because that's where you are with it. Like this is different now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I totally feel that. Honestly, I feel like I think there was like a study they did that I read about where they had like government officials like take acid. And they kind of just did a study on them. I have to find out, like, where I read that at. But basically, like, they were just tripping on acid, but, like, all of the knowledge that they came back with was just so super dope. It almost was like they basically told the future. And I'm not sure if they offed them. They probably did because you know how our government is. But
right.
Honestly, like, I love microdosing. And even for just, like, mental health purposes, it's, like, it's fucking amazing. I think, I don't know if you've ever read, like, any of Terrence McKenna's books or even watched any of his lectures. Yeah, but he was heavy into, like, doing shrooms and DMT and just overall just going to that space, like, in your body and, you know, in your mind to where, like, when you come back, it's like we're in some type of like simulation, you know. It's like, what the fuck am I living for?
Right.
So I think that really kind of puts everything in perspective, especially when you're trying to chase your dreams or you're trying to, I don't know, whatever you're trying to do in life. I feel like it kind of just puts everything into alignment with, you know, what you have to do. So if you haven't done shrooms, whoever's listening to this, you need to.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it out there for everyone. Just understand the proper ways. You need to have a clean set and setting, that's a clean mindset, and a clean room that you're doing it in. You can only, like, I personally would suggest only, like, having someone who's not doing it there with you the first time. Don't be around people you don't really trust or feel funny about.
Yes.
Me personally, until you get more experience with what it does to you, don't use it as a party drug, as recreation. It's more spiritual. And know your limits. Start at the 3-5. Start at the 8th of shrooms. That's the basic entry level for the trip.
Yes.
Don't
important.
try to be the Don't try to be the head honcho. Like, I'm gonna eat the whole bag. Like, it's a pound of shrooms, and now you're in the next nebula, and you're scared. You know what I'm saying? Chill out. Take it easy. Me personally, the more that I've done like full on trips, I like microdosing. Like, I don't even like have to full on trip. Like, it's like I just like the vibe of
that's
just
all
about.
I like doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like unless you're like off in like fucking Honduras or something, and you want to do a full on like ritual cleanse, or I don't know if you go on like one of those retreats, then maybe. But I feel like that's like enough.
Yeah.
And definitely just be around like positive like energy, positive people. Like for me, I'm always either like around like my sister or like my family. And then even sometimes I'll like do like a detox, or I'll like cleanse. I'll do like meditation like a day before. It's just something that I do. But I mean, yeah, definitely just be in a positive space and energy.
And also set an intention before you trip, and you may arrive at your intention. Like,
yes.
Say like. I give an example. There was a time, one of the first few times I did acid, and it was like 12 hours. But like I kind of went into the trip wondering about like life on North America and stuff, and like, you know, with the tribes and stuff that are here before colonization. And by the end of this trip, like when morning was coming, there was this box in my homeboy's garage. And we picked it up, and it was this packet inside talking about like Native Americans and the First Nation and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, like,
you
this is what I wanted
that.
to know.
You like manifested that. Look how the universe responded to you.
Very important to go in with an intention, like, whether something emotional you want to arrive at, a knowledge, putting in gear a goal or something, like, yeah, use it like it's medicine, I believe. It's not, let's go to Firefest, let's go to Coachella and do these shrooms, bro. Like, to me, that's a waste of the experience. Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's like, these were like medicinal medicine. So it's like, obviously after colonization, they like to exploit everything that, indigenous people did. So, yeah, definitely. I even read like an article where they were saying it was really helping with veterans who are experiencing like PTSD and, other traumas that they go through. So even if you are battling like something mental, I definitely think that it could aid in that, whether it's like depression or anxiety. I'm all for though, like going to like your doctor or your healthcare provider to getting what you need, but definitely it's done wonders for me, especially just treating just like simple like anxiety.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get on the mushroom and acid train.
Yeah, I feel like after like my first few times with psychedelics, like something opened in my brain, like, and it hasn't been the same for the better. It was weird at first, separating from old energies and ways that I used to be, because it just felt like I stopped being able to communicate with certain people around me, and it's just changing your frequency, and you gravitate towards different experiences, and it's something I had to learn and accept that when you move to new levels, you can't do old things. These new skills that you have is, in a sense, like in a video game, like too powerful for the old ways, you know what I'm saying? Or you just have to keep moving forward, you know what I'm saying, and leveling up and elevating. And I think that's what the world is missing, really, is it really changes how you perceive reality, and it puts in perspective for you what's important to you.
Once you kind of have an experience with any type of psychedelic, it's almost like even if you try to engage in things or old things and habits or energies that you used to engage in before, it's almost like you get, like, well, for me, I get kind of like a growth feeling. I feel like my body, my existence just like rejects it. It's almost like eating like black licorice for me. I feel like it's just like a bad taste in my mouth. Like my whole just energy just like rejects it. And I don't even know, have you ever tried like doing shrooms or psychedelics around like sketchy people, or even if you kind of had like like just questionable things about a person? I feel like for me it just reveals everything. Like I've done like shrooms around like just some sketchy energies that I just couldn't pinpoint what it was, and then I feel like it just like everything was revealed to me. I'm like, oh shit, this is not even a human being. This is like some other type of like weird entity that I need to separate myself from. So even in that instance, I'm like so grateful that it gave me the ability to kind of operate around people that I trust and I know that are, supportive of me.
100%, yeah. The first time I had a mushroom trip in San Francisco on Haight Street, there was like this dude, because I was with the guy who brought me to the dude who sold them to me, and he was kind of like my guide, and then we ran into our friend. So they were like skateboarding down the street, kind of leaving me behind because I didn't have a skateboard. But they were like waiting for me at the corners. But at one of the corners, they were talking to this weird white dude, and like I'm tripping balls by this point. Like everything's colorful and it's trippy. And he's looking at me like, yeah, I don't really trust your friend. And I'm looking at him like, motherfucker, I don't trust your ass. Like, you don't know the weird energy.
But he was like projecting. You see how he's projecting on you?
Right.
That is so damn wild. Like, I love when people reveal themselves to me like that, especially when I'm, like, tripping balls, because I feel like, oh, okay, so I was just waiting for you to kind of show yourself to me. Thank you.
Right. And it always comes to the light. But I think this is a good point to cap off the episode. Tyra, thank you for your time today. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for sure. Thank you for bringing light to the life of sex work. Hopefully some people learn some things, learn something new, see it a different way. Yeah, I appreciate you, and anytime you want to come through on the show, you are welcome.
Thank you. I hope that, like, anyone listening gets inspired by my story and, kind of has a different perspective of, like, what I do.
Thank you for everything you do for the world. Thank you for blessing us with your presence on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Lavender Water Podcast. I've been your host, Matthew Williams, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.